Hello there and welcome to News Tonight this Tuesday, the 20th day of February 2024. In sign language, it is Elizabeth Nakakuni and I am Rukidi Edward Kiijanangoma. Now, Botswana Vaccine Institute is to help Uganda find a lasting solution to foot and mouth disease, which has been a big challenge to the cattle industry in the country. Now, this was revealed in a meeting between President Yoweri Museveni and Botswana scientists at State House in Entebbe. The meeting was also attended by officials from the Ministry of Agriculture, Animal Industry and Fisheries and the Ministry of Science, Technology and Innovation. The engagement was a follow-up on the bilateral meeting between President Yoweri Museveni and President Mokwetsi Eric Kabetswe Masisi of Botswana on the 22nd of January 2024 at Speak Resort Munyonyo on the sidelines of the G77 plus China Third South Summit. Botswana Vaccine Institute scientists have since collected samples from the cattle affected by foot and mouth disease in the cattle corridor and other parts of the country affected by the disease. These samples will be taken to Botswana Vaccine Institute to find a vaccine that will help prevent the infection. President Museveni welcomed the scientists from Botswana and agreed to the partnership to develop a vaccine for the disease in Uganda. Honorable Frank Tumwebazi, the Minister for Agriculture, Animal Industry and Fisheries, informed the President that scientists from Botswana Vaccine Institute agreed to partner with the National Agricultural Research Organization, NARO, to develop a vaccine to combat foot and mouth disease in Uganda. Andrew Madeswi, the Chief Executive Officer, Botswana Vaccine Institute, said that the mission of collecting samples has been achieved and the next step is testing the samples and the final findings of the report will be out on the 29th of March 2024. Now, the Prime Minister, Right Honourable Robin Nabanja, has urged students to be focused on their studies if they are to succeed in life. Nabanja made the remarks while meeting senior 4 students from St. Edward's Secondary School, Bukumi, who made a courtesy visit to her office here in Kampala. We have more in this story.
Senior 4 students from Bukumi Secondary School made a courtesy visit to the office of the Prime Minister today. In her speech, the Prime Minister appealed to students to be focused on studies and avoid being diverted by peers. According to Nabanja, students need regular career guidance to avoid them from being diverted.
If you are not disciplined, even when you get a job, you will lose it. So discipline matters. Are we together? Yes. It will help you to succeed now in school and in the future when you get employed or when you start doing your business. There are some of you who are going to be very rich people in this country. But if you are not disciplined, you will never succeed.
Nabanja identified students from well-to-do better families as the major cause of diversions in schools and higher institutions of learning.
Living within your means that if you don't have money to buy a very good dress or uniform, you will use what is available. Isn't it? Yes. As long as you can go to class and study. Isn't it? Yes. You don't have the other very expensive issue. You can use whatever is available for you to access your class and get educated. Living within your means.
The over 100 students are in Kampala to acquaint themselves with the operations of Parliament and also visit other sites like Uganda Matters Shrine, Namugongo, among others.
Bad behaviors.
Now, officials from Uganda Investment Authority have been tasked to produce evidence of the recruitment process after they failed to explain to the Committee of Statutory Authorities and State Enterprises, COSASE, how they spent the 9.5 billion shillings warranted to them by the Ministry of Finance. The Executive Director, UIA, Dr. Robert Mukiza, told the committee that they did not find suitable candidates for the positions they were recruiting. However, the query from the Auditor General for 30th June 2023 indicates UIA returned 200 million shillings to the Treasury due to low absorption capacity. Let's get more in this story.
Officials from Uganda Investment Authority have appeared before the Committee of Statutory Authorities and State Enterprises, COSASE, to answer queries in the Auditor General's report for the year ending 30th June 2023. The committee, chaired by Medad Lubega Segona on the query of non-taxable revenue, wondered why UIA during the COVID-19 recovery collected 435 billion shillings and yet the following years projected less.
Our projection for 2022-2023 was 418 billion. 418 million shillings.
418 million.
418 million.
So what yes, here you did have 435 billion. So what informed you now to set a target of 418, knowing very well that there is a lot that is to be collected in the hands? Under budgeted, you overshot your budget by 10%. Your General is saying you set your targets low so as to appear to have overperformed. Tell us why you overperformed or why you under budgeted.
Uganda Investment Authority was given 9.5 billion for recruitment. However, the Executive Director, Dr. Robert Mukiza, told the committee that they did not find suitable candidates for the positions and never recruited. But according to the query, 200 million shillings was returned. In retaliation, the committee tasked the group to return with human resource manual and evidence of the recruitment process. The Auditor General's audit on the delivery of services from implemented activities reveals that 31.52 billion shillings was spent. The audit query indicates that money was spent on construction of industrial parks and supporting private industrial parks.
We also recently mobilized approximately 12.5 square miles of land for industrial park development, and we want to thank local governments all over the country for supporting Uganda Investment Authority to give this land for free for industrial park development.
Uganda Investment Authority was tasked to adduce a strategic work plan guiding their activities. On the other side, the probing committee was also interested in knowing the owners of the private industrial parks. They signed MOUs with UIA and the terms of reference. The committee was also concerned with the character behaviors of UIA customers involved in destroying roads built in industrial parks. I'm Nafka Farida and Gloria Gwetabinje.
Now, the Deputy Speaker of Parliament, Thomas Tayebwa, has rallied leaders at all levels to reject proposals by the European Union requiring Africa to pay the heaviest penalties of climate change, despite Africa contributing less to global emissions. Robert Onyango reports.
The 5 days African, Caribbean and Pacific States plus European Union General Assembly convening in Angola's capital city of Luanda is still going on. Uganda's delegation at this assembly is being led by the Deputy Speaker of Parliament, Thomas Tayebwa, who was elected East Africa's representative to OSPC on the first day. In his maiden speech, Tayebwa reiterated the move for Africa to pay attention to energy challenges.
Our position as African members of Parliament, as we engage our colleagues from the European Parliament, has been very clear that on the energy transition, we must have a fair and just transition that is not rushed. There is no way you can say that Africa can, for example, do away with fossils. Fossils developed Europe, coal developed Europe. And then for us in Uganda, who are just going to start exploring oil in 2025, someone argues that no, Uganda don't explore your oil. No, that's not acceptable.
In this regard, Tayebwa is rallying leaders at all levels to reject what he calls unacceptable proposals by the European Union seeking to impose tough penalties on African countries, accusing them of being the biggest contributors to climate change hazards.
Out of having very poor quality bulbs and accessories to do with electricity, the globe is losing around 30% of its global energy output. Where is that coming from? It's not coming from Africa. They are manufactured in Europe They are manufactured in China, they are manufactured in America.
The Ruhinda North MP also appealed to the European Union to invest more in affordable solar in African countries.
Africa has 60% of the best assessed global solar sources, but only 1% of installed solar globally is in Africa. So meaning we are seated on a very huge potential.
He rallied African members of parliament to reject such proposals and called for a fair and just transition to clean energy.
And we are saying that these guys have made a lot of money out of using all this dirty fuel, out of releasing all these emissions in the air. So we are saying they should pay more for this. Energy transitions need around $25 billion per year up to the year 2030, according to the energy reports that we are getting. Now, if we are to do that, it means that these countries must pay more.
Mr. Vanna Ayekeba, the Vice President of African Energy Chambers, on access to reliable, affordable and sustainable energy for Africa, and EU said over 600 million Africans have no access to reliable and affordable energy, whereas 900 million Africans have zero access to clean cooking fuels.
Then I think we are in trouble. We also do need to recognize that you will not be able to develop agriculture, to develop industry, to be able to ensure that we can have jobs if at all we cannot push reliable and affordable energy. And that is why the Chamber continues to say, for Africa, we need to first ensure access to power.
Mark Angel, the Vice President of the European Parliament, noted that access to reliable, affordable and sustainable energy is a key priority for the European Union's partnership with Africa. In this regard, the European Union committed up to Euros 20 billion to support the deployment of at least 50 gigawatts of renewable energy in Africa and also provide at least 100 million people with electricity access by 2030. Robert Onyango, UBC News.
Now, the British High Commission political councillor Joe Dashley has paid a courtesy visit to the Secretary General of the ruling National Resistance Movement, NRM, Richard Odong, at the party headquarters in Kyadondo. The two discussed a number of issues, but top on the agenda was the anti-homosexuality law. We have more in this story.
The British High Commission political councillor Joe Dashley made a maiden visit to the party headquarters of the ruling NRM party in Kampala. Dashley was received by the Secretary General of the NRM party, Richard Odong.
And our commitment in fighting corruption as a party and as a country, which they do appreciate, and they also observe that there is a big challenge with the corruption, not only in Uganda but in the whole of sub-Saharan Africa. We also discussed mainly about the economy. How do we make the economy work for the ordinary person?
The two discussed a number of issues on good governance,
how they can work closely with the IPOD. IPOD is Inter-Party Coalition for Dialogue. How they can promote dialogue among political parties and how they can support the process of dialogue.
However, top on the agenda was the signed anti-homosexuality law and the stringent clauses therein by President Yoweri Kaguta Museveni.
Of course, we presented our position about the anti-homosexual bill which was passed in Parliament. They are very concerned about such issues, but we are also very firm in protecting our values and our norms, and in certain areas we don't compromise our values systems. So we openly speak to them about such, and they do appreciate. And especially when we speak about protection of the juvenile, the protection of children, not exposing children to the dangers of homosexuality.
The law prefers a death penalty to whoever caught and proven beyond reasonable doubt of committing homosexuality. It also criminalizes those aiding and abetting the act of homosexuality. However, the law has since generated controversies from the international community, including moving sanctions against Uganda, ranging from freezing donor funding to Uganda from some Western countries, and also putting travel bans on key political and religious figures in Uganda.
And the bill seeks to protect our heritage. They do appreciate, and their concern was that the bill seeks to punish culprits with death. But we said that has since been revised, and we don't have death penalty now in the bill.
Despite international threats to Uganda, President Museveni has maintained his position of not withdrawing the law or returning the law to Parliament for amendment, but rather has issued strong warnings to some Western countries threatening Uganda to respect Uganda's sovereignty. Robert Onyango, UBC News.
Thanks, Onyango, Robert, for that story there. Now, lawyers have petitioned the Constitutional Court seeking to scrap cash bail conditions as a prerequisite for a suspect to be released on bail. The lawyers say such conditions infringe on the rights of the suspect and also lead to congestion in prisons.
It's a manifestation of commercialization of human rights and justice for sale.
Of 10 magistrates in accordance to Section 78B of the Magistrates Act have been releasing suspects on bail. However, the law also gives the magistrate permission to release someone on a non-cash bail, but in this regard, few suspects have been released on a non-cash bail. It's against this background that the lawyers have petitioned the Constitutional Court seeking to scrap cash bail as one of the conditions for suspects to be granted bail. The petition filed against the Attorney General lawyers say for court to impose on suspects cash bail without first investigating their financial status. This infringes on their rights.
Many people have been granted cash bail, but at the same time they are absconded. They do not return back to court. Therefore, we have other alternatives like the institution of sureties, which sureties actually do sign a bond in case this person escapes or doesn't report back to court. Sureties are made to pay the money. Therefore, the purpose of this petition is to ensure access to bail relief as a pre-trial remedy to all persons, including the poor, and access to justice for all.
Lawyers contend that for court to impose cash bail on suspects, it doesn't only affect their rights, but it's also a root cause for the increasing number of inmates in prisons.
And failure to pay, such a person is taken back into prison pending payment, which unreasonably prolongs his remand or her remand period. Prison congestion, which currently stands at 75,000 inmates, contrary to the approved capacity of Uganda prison facilities, which is 20,000. Therefore, if people are granted bail, such a problem would be at least reduced.
They now want Constitutional Court to declare Section 78B of the Magistrates Act as inconsistent with Article 21, 28, and 126 of the Constitution, which requires justice to be dispensed to all manner of people, regardless of their economic situation.
As far as non-discrimination is concerned, is in contravention of Article 23, Clause 6 of the Constitution. As far as unreasonableness of cash bail condition is concerned, because you don't tell a person that you presume to be innocent, you're granted bail after satisfying conditions, at the same time you be on remand until when you pay such money. But this is akin to paying to the incompetence of the prosecution's office, simply because it's prosecution that delay to bring evidence for this person to be committed to High Court or for the trial to proceed. As such,
other petitioners include Kasule Ezekiel and Kajubi Frank Barnabas, who now want the Constitutional Court to order for the release of all prisoners who on remand for failure to pay the bail money. Deborah Namamonde, UBC News.
The Secretary General of the ruling NRM party, Richard Todwong, has revealed that the NRM will maintain its previous candidate for the Dokolo District Woman Member of Parliament seat in the 2021 general election, Janet Rose Adong Welau, who lost to the FDC candidate, the late Cecilia Atim Ogwal. Robert Onyango gives us more.
I lost 5 years.
As political pressure starts rising for the Dokolo District Woman Member of Parliament seat, there are 7 candidates aligned to compete for the position, which fell vacant on January 18, 2024, when the incumbent MP Cecilia Timogwal Babra died in India due to cancer-related illness. The 7 candidates facing each other in the much anticipated tight race include Sarah Aguti Nyakori of Uganda People's Congress UPC and Janet Rose Adong Elau. The duo contested against Ogwa in the 2021 polls but lost to her.
Because if that flag bearer was strong, she could have made it in the other election.
Ogwa defeated Elau with 32,223 votes, who came second with 16,880 votes. Despite her defeat in the 2021, the NRM Secretary General Richard Odong is optimistic that they can build on the previous performance to defeat UPC's Sarah Aguti Nyakori in the Kolo District Man Member of Parliament by-election.
We shall move on the ground to support the flag bearer, and we believe that we are going to win that election because our bondage, our connection with the population is very strong, and we are at a better space.
According to Todong, the NRM is maintaining Elau for the by-election.
The Electoral Commission has given us a roadmap for the election to replace her. As a party, we have our flag bearer, and the party will fully support the flag bearer because we do not have any reason why we should change a flag bearer of the party.
The NRM has a cooperation signed agreement with UPC. However, the two parties are not willing to front a single candidate to face off with the preferred FDC candidate, Dr. Rosemary Alok Ogwa.
Political space is not left, it's contested for. And it's an opportunity for us to go back to the people and contest and campaign for the position. Representation of a people is not a negotiation among leaders.
Meanwhile, ever since the death of the vice chairperson of NRM for Northern Uganda, Jacob Olanya, the position has remained vacant for 2.5 years now. However, Todong says plans are underway to have the position filled.
For us to have an election to replace the regional vice chairman of the party, the whole electoral college of the party, which is at the level of a national conference, must sit and elect. Because for us to have a national conference, that means we need to have representation from all over the country coming to Nambole, because SEC members are elected by everybody from around the country who comes from the different districts that we have. So for us to have such a meeting for one election, it will be very expensive. But we are in the process. Very soon, by end of this week or early next week, we shall be announcing our roadmap for updating the party register, having structured elections, having primaries at all levels, and then building up to the election of leaders at national level, where all the SEC members are going to be re-elected when we get to that point.
Robert Onyango, UBC News.
The government has finally tabled their respective bills intending to streamline various government agencies to eliminate wasteful expenditure. Now, this follows government revisiting the resource envelope and expenditure for the financial year 2024-2025 from 52.723 trillion shillings to 53.336 trillion. Minister of State for Finance, Henry Musasizi, attributes the upward shift in the resource envelope to interventions including statutory obligations like U-Gift, pension and gratuity funds. Recently, members of parliament criticized government for not offering sufficient support to the Uganda Intergovernmental Fiscal Transfer U-Gift program.
Government has advanced the move to save about 1 trillion annually through reducing on the wasteful expenditure from duplication of government agencies. Parliament is debating the bill after respective ministries tabled different bills justifying the need to rationalize the attached agencies.
The bill contains repeal of the Uganda National Roads Authority Act 2006,
is the repeal of the Non-Performing Assets Recovery Trust Act, CAP 95, the amendment of Assets of Departed Asians Act.
Most of these agencies were a formation of acts of parliament, and thus the need to revisit the guided laws were inevitable.
You intimated that it would be very appropriate, Right Honourable Speaker, for the sponsors of rationalization, namely the Ministry of Public Service, to interact intimately and intensively with the leaders of the committees.
One of the basic tenets of a good law, it must be consultative, and this is part of the consultations I beg to submit.
And when you're going for that meeting, Honourable Minister, kindly go with the report that formed your decision to rationalization. so that these members will be able to appreciate and understand what it is for them to take to their committees.
It is now upon the investigations of Parliament to determine whether the move tallies with the government idea to cut costs and improve efficiency, as well as be friendly to the taxpayer.
They want to understand the nature of bill that was laid. May you indulge the government chief whip to guide the ministers, because each of the bills carries a memorandum. So the memoranda cannot be omnibus.
President Yoweri Kaguta Museveni is among the crusaders of rationalization after the president recently called for more support for wealth creators through engaging in the 4 sectors of the economy, including commercial agriculture, industries, services and ICT. However, the tabling of the respective bills comes at a time when the Ministry of Finance, Planning and Economic Development has revised the resource envelope and expenditure for the financial year 2024-2025 from 52.723 trillion to 53.336 trillion. This, according to Minister of State for Finance in charge of General Duties, Henry Musasizi, is attributed to the consideration of statutory obligations, including pension, gratuity and funds for the Uganda Intergovernmental Fiscal Transfer UGFIT program.
So this is not something extraordinary. You can see it is something consistent with the process we shall arrive at by May.
The upward shift in the resource envelope is not a surprise to a section of members of parliament who claim that the government is playing a hide-and-seek game to include some uncalled expenditure.
You have now processed a budget of 52 trillion by today. They are now adding another 1.3 trillion, which means that you are going to pass a budget when 1.3 trillion has not been properly scrutinized. That's why the law says you must disclose when you are presenting the budget framework paper. But two, you are dealing with people who are dishonest. Sometimes they keep money for items they know that Parliament will reject.
In this financial year, for example, there was about 2 trillion shillings that could not be explained. And that pointed to us that the intention was then to later revise the budget to 54 trillion shillings and claim that the 2 trillion shillings has been found after Parliament has made its recommendation. Given that our country can only mobilize about 30 trillion shillings domestically at the very high end, otherwise we do about 28 trillion, and we mobilize about 5 to 6 trillion externally.
They will also be accommodated. This is normal in the process of budget preparation and budget approval. So I cannot say at this stage that we shall carry this resource envelope up to the end.
Daniel Mugoya, Gloria Gwitabinji, UBC News.
Fred! Freddy! Fred Dollar! My boss, CEO Inojo, the general of generals, the conqueror of conquerors, the first and the final, the sky above the skies, the promised land, the terms and the conditions, the international king crocodile, the source of the Nile.
I don't have money today.
Just take a polite loan of 200k to stock my shop. The signs and symptoms of success. The bank commander, not the bank teller.
Why hassle for a loan when you've got MTN Momo? Wesotinge. Use the Momo app or dial *165*5# for all quick loans. Choose from the different loan options from our partners and get one that works for you. Together, we're unstoppable.
The government of Uganda and the Uganda Bureau of Statistics is calling upon all stakeholders such as the chief administrative officers, city mayors, resident city commissioners, city clerks, city and division councillors, wards and LC chairpersons, as well as the residents and business communities to cooperate with the UBOS field teams as we embark on advanced preparations to conduct the National Population and Housing Census on the 10th of May 2024. The census will be a 10-day exercise to obtain statistical data and information that will be used for planning and policy formulation, including information on 1. How many we are, 2. Where we are, 3. How we are living, 4. What we own, and 5. Where we access services from. The Uganda Bureau of Statistics has now started listing of households and mapping in the 11 cities of Arua, Fort Portal, Gulu, Hoima, Jinja, Lira, Mbale, Masaka, Mbarara, Soroti, and in the Greater Kampala, comprising of Kampala, Wakiso, and Mukono districts. For more information, please call 0755 342 128 or 0773 342 128. This message is brought to you by the Executive Director and Census Commissioner, Uganda Bureau of Statistics. Census 2024. It matters to be counted.
Hi, my name is Dennis Masindo Nyango, former Uganda Cranes captain and goalkeeper. My kind of a tank at home is a Crest tank. I use it at the farm and at home. I recommend it for everyone.
Irritations? No more rashes and irritations. Movit Herbal Jelly and Herbal Soap is rich in natural herbs for a smooth and glowing skin.
Movit All Day Confidence.
Welcome back from that break, and this is News Tonight here on UBC TV. Police in the Rwenzori East region of Mpondwe have arrested a suspected ADF rebel who entered the country through porous border points. And in Jinja, police have continued to carry out operations, arresting several criminal gangs. Fred Enanga, the police spokesperson, urges citizens to be vigilant and report any suspected criminal.
The police in Rwenzori East and Mpondwe, CPS, last week arrested another suspected ADF rebel called Bahati Abdul Razak, a 28-year-old rebel who sneaked from Todoli in the DRC and entered into the country. He was arrested. Most of his colleagues were eliminated, but we believe there are still a few remnants who are out there that we continue to actually pursue. Then also in a separate development, our joint anti-terrorism task force managed to recover an 11-year-old ADF recruit called Chibombo Munimbu, who escaped from the DRC and was trying to find his way back. We established upon interrogating him that it is his grandfather actually who picked him all the way from Buwenge, that is from Erapa Nabirimba village in Buyende district. This grandfather of his called Muzungu Sulaid is the one who picked him together with 3 other children and managed to transport them all the way up to the ADF camps in the DRC. Our crime intelligence teams from Jinja, working with the community on the 29th of January, arrested a notorious suspect called Wamboga Saidi Khan, alias Yellow Skin, alias Farouk, from Jinja South Division. And of course, the task team built on intelligence that had been picked, and we started tracking down other accomplices and other gang members, who included Chikuli Chris, alias Dindodi, Muwanguzi Samuel, alias Foster, and Kuliba Gumaho Lauben, alias Wisdom, alias Wise, And of course, why we, the intelligence that we had is it followed a robbery that this criminal gang carried out to manage to trace them and arrested Chikuli Chris together with the Kuliba Gumaho from Nansana division where they were hiding. And efforts are now in place to trace the other gang members who include Ali, Emma, Bisaso Abdallah, Alias Assassin, Matata, Augustine and Farouk. And after this arrest, of course, we've not registered any new incidents of violence and aggravated robberies in Jinja. And want to continue reassuring residents of Ugembe that we are not going to rest until all the other perpetrators of violence and robberies mentioned are arrested and charged.
Uganda Police Force spokesperson Fred Enanga ending that story there. Now, the National Organizing Committee of the Senior Presidential Advisor on Special Operations, also chairperson of the Patriotic League of Uganda, PLU, General Mhozi Kainerugab's tour in Greater Masaka, has officially flagged off the line activities. The event took place at Masaka Liberation Square and was presided over by the area coordinator and State Minister for Microfinance, Haruna Cheyune Kasolo.
On 15th March 2024, all roads will be heading to Greater Masaka for the launch of this year's activities of the Patriotic League of Uganda. The chairperson of the Patriotic League of Uganda and also the Senior Presidential Advisor on Special Operations, General Mhozi Kainerugaba, will grace the events as the chief guest. In line with the preparations, the Central Committee members have launched the preparations tour from Masaka Liberation Square.
As the people of Masaka City and Greater Masaka generally, we have agreed and we have made those who have trivialities to agree that we are not here for Honorable Kasoro, we are not here for Sara, we are not here for Peter Sengo. We are not here for any trivial fights amongst leaders. We are here for general democracy.
I'm taking this opportunity to encourage all youth in Yantonde, regardless of the political affiliations that you subscribe to, religion, color, tribe. Please, PLU is the answer to go.
If at all this league will be focusing on maintaining what we have achieved without any segregation.
State Minister Cheyune Haruna Kasolo was in a company of PLU Central Committee members Daudi Kabanda and Michael Nwagira alias Toyota. The take-home message during this launch is to mobilize communities to spread the gospel of development in this area. Story compiled by Bruno Mubangezi for UBC News.
To courts of law now, and Nakawa Chief Magistrates Court has acquitted 2 out of the 11 suspects facing offences of unlawful possession of bomb-making materials with the aim of disrupting peace. Now, those released are Farida Masaba and Resti Virungi. Shamim Malende, the lawyer for the accused, was dissatisfied with the court's way of releasing suspects and vowed to fight for the release of the others. Now, other suspects who are on remand are Umar Magara and Hamidu Muyodi, among others, but were absent in court. Court resumes on the 5th of March 2024.
Had previously had 11 accused persons charged with offense of terrorism. However, today, court has let free 2 of them, that is Masaba Farida and the Birungi Reste, and has amended the charge further to add 2 new accused persons, that is Seba Gala Rashid and Sekabembe Salim. We expect all the 11 accused persons back in court on 5th March 2024 to be physically produced. But as for Masaba Farida and Birungi Reste, they have been let free today, and DPP has withdrawn charges against them. They were still taken inside the prison bus because they did not want them to have interface with their relatives that have come to court to follow up with them, let alone have an interface with us outside or with the media. It's very absurd, but as lawyers, we are going to follow up this matter to see that to ensure that the 2 accused persons are actually at their homes.
Pressure tanso okuka eranga nkubiza bana Uganda tuongeye kuteka pressure kubanja abantu baffe turabenga at least abantu bona as long as toina musango oberengo oli free.
Lero abasibe babadde 11 ne basobodde okutaaka abasibe 2 kati bali abasibe abala lwaki bo balemeddwa n'okuletibwa mu koti tebabaleese bo kati musango ki ogubaliko ate gwe bajje ku bano.
We'll take yet another short break and return with the latest in business.
Ebiseera by'okuzaayo abaana mu masomero tebiteekwa kukaluubiriza n'akatono. Eno kusimba nnyiriri mpanvu kano kalipagano ka bidduka. Simanya kuzunga na banka siripsi. Kati osobola okusasula school fees z'omwana wo ate n'okola n'ebirala ntoko ku ssimu ye ey'omu ngalo. Ekikola kyangu nnyo. Nyiga bunyizi *165*8 ogoberera ebikulagiriddwa oba okozese app ya MTN Momo. Ate kati okola ki olwaleero? MTN Mobile Money Uganda Limited erunganisibwa banka enkulu ya Uganda.
My name is Kano Edith Nakarima Asuzwa. I head the State House Investors Protection Unit established by His Excellency Retired General Yoweri Kaguta Museveni, the President of the Republic of Uganda and the Commanding Chief of the Armed Forces. The Uganda Electronic Investors Protection Portal is a digital platform that empowers investors to get authentic information, make inquiries, report, verify, and receive feedback. The Electronic Investors Protection Portal serves all existing and prospective investors, both domestic and foreign, as well as the general public, through enabling whistleblowers to report any concerns about investing in Uganda. The electronic portal guides investors with important and necessary information on investing in Uganda. It also offers a quick reporting and enforcement mechanism while ensuring real-time feedback. The Uganda Electronic Investors Protection Portal gives you access to authentic information and resources that are designed to help you make informed investment decisions and avoid common pitfalls.
To access the portal, log on to protection.statehouseinvest.go.ug or visit our website www.statehouseinvest.go.ug. Email us on info@statehouseinvest.go.ug or call us on 0326 100630. Visit our office at Lumumba Avenue, Plot 51B, Nakasero Hill, Kampala, Uganda. The State House Investors Protection Unit, empowering investors.
As Uganda and as UBTS, we are hosting a high-level scientific blood transplant congress from the 4th to the 7th of March at Peak Resort, Munyonyo. I call upon everybody to come and attend this important congress where we shall share knowledge expertise, and new innovations in the field of blood.
Welcome back. Let's have a look now at the latest in business. Uganda and the European Union will host the third EU-Uganda Business Forum. The forum, slated for the first week of March in Kampala, will facilitate structured collaboration between the European Union and Ugandan public and private sector actors. Dennis Sigoa reports.
The forum, which opens on the 5th of March to 7th in Kampala, seeks to build on the existing trade ties between the European Union and Uganda. On the theme boosting trade and investments, it is designed to mobilize investments into the country and strengthen Ugandan exports.
The volume of trade between Uganda and Europe now being at 800 million, that just shows to us that European Union are our allies that our president says that we should look for. And I must say we are happy that in you we find true allies. And I want to tell you that we treat our allies very well and we love them.
It comes at a time when the value of Ugandan exports to Europe is estimated at about 800 million euros per annum. According to the EU, in Uganda, their main focus is improving livelihoods and providing jobs to more than 700,000 young people who enter the job market annually.
We see micro, small and medium-sized enterprises as the drivers for the Ugandan economy, but they deeply lack access to affordable financing. This is something that we will look into. And the upcoming business forum is a key platform to support job creation and sustainable economic growth for Uganda. And we truly believe that this kind of initiative is key to mobilize higher levels of private investments and to create new business opportunities in priority sectors.
The Private Sector Foundation Uganda and the Uganda Investment Authority will capitalize on the event to put more emphasis on foreign direct investments, value addition and observance to standards.
Our focus is to move away from exporting raw materials. Our focus is now on value addition. So where possible, we'll be adding value to the goods that we send to the European market. The conditions in Europe are favorable. Like they said, there are no trade barriers.
From Uganda Investment Authority, definitely, we are going to continue illuminating the opportunities, investment opportunities, especially that we can present to the EU. Most of the sectors have been mentioned, but I wanted it to be a bit specific. Where we see opportunities for our partners in Europe is, for instance, in the areas of pharmaceuticals and the medicaments, including equipment.
The forum will place special attention to key economic sectors that offer significant opportunities to European investors to develop partnerships with Ugandan entrepreneurs, including agribusiness, mining, infrastructure, and the tourism sector. Dennis Igor for UBC News.
Sports news now, and Uganda's Minister for Education and Sports, Janet Kataha Museveni, has toured Nakivubo Stadium and Mandela National Stadium, Nambole. The two iconic facilities have been undergoing renovations in readiness for resumption that is highlighted by hosting of the 2027 Africa Cup of Nations. John Bansen reports.
Minister for Education and Sports Janet Museveni has been impressed by renovation works at Mandela National Stadium, Nambole and Nakivubo Stadium. At Mandela National Stadium, Nambole, she inspected works on the training pitch, dressing rooms and the stadium itself, which are all in good condition, offering light at the end of the tunnel, ahead of reopening of the stadium that has been out of action since 2018. Renovation of Mandela National Stadium is by Uganda People's Defence Forces Engineering Brigade, which has confirmed an 86% completion of this iconic stadium, minus which Uganda has been devoid of a perfect home ground for the Uganda Cranes.
Today, standing here and looking at Mandela Stadium really is a blessing, because you all remember when we were here in June last year, there were so many things yet undone. There were many things sharp and standing up, and we didn't know how they were going to all be concluded and make the stadium look normal again. But today, standing here and looking at all these, our national colors, and looking at this stadium, really, we're very proud of our Defense Engineering Brigade. We are very, very proud with our team that we work with, and I have no doubt in my mind that the works that are not yet done will be done and concluded, and my prayer, I believe, will be answered, because God works with us and He covers us as we work.
Uganda People's Defence Forces Engineering Brigade reported a shortfall of 17 billion shillings that has delayed completion of Mandela National Stadium Nambole, an area Minister Janet Museveni confirmed was addressed through a supplementary budget and promises to follow up with Ministry of Finance.
I was surprised to hear our PS say that the money has not got here yet. So I will not let the Ministry of Finance sleep again until they have given us our money really, because we requested for it in the supplementary. We got some of that money at that time. I don't know why we didn't get the 17 billion, but we are not going to let them sleep. The minister, my colleague, Honorable Kasaija, and the PSST, they will know that we are not doing this for ourselves. We're doing this for Uganda, and they must do their part also, because without that money, you can see how much we have delayed.
State Minister for Sports Peter Ogwang confirms the stadium will be inspected sooner, with hope it meets FIFA and CAF standards in order to be able to host the next qualifier against Botswana in June.
Nambole is 86% done. We are left with 14%. As far as hosting a game is concerned, it's not yet ready to host a game, because we want to be at 100% ready, which I want to promise you. You've heard from the contractor, what they need is the balance of the 17 billion to make sure that within what is required. What is not ready is that track. Are you getting me? But for purpose of football, what I need is the VIP areas. Are you getting me? What I need are the dressing rooms. Are you getting me? What I need are the seats all getting ready, and I'll be able to play the game here. I can afford to cover those areas and have a game played here.
When complete, Nambole, that was originally opened in 1999, will be home to 39,831 in the general stand, 1,564 very important people, and 286 in the VVIP section. At Nakivo Stadium, the Minister for Education and Sports lauded entrepreneur Hamis Kigundu for a job that proves that Uganda has men and women that can deliver for a national cause.
But this is the time now to have a new generation that is motivated. That is why NRM leaders fought that Uganda can see that Africans can do things themselves. So I come here on behalf of government. I know that we will have an opportunity when the president will come himself. But on behalf of a sector which stands for government, I come here to say thank you. And since you have done what you have already put here for us to see, we can be confident that it will be complete. Okay? So thank you so much.
The two stadia are pivotal for Uganda not only in the short run, but in its quest of hosting AFCON 2027.
And that story brings us to the end of this first edition of News Tonight here on UBC TV this Tuesday, the 20th day of February 2024. On sign language, it has been Elizabeth Nakakoni, and I'm Rukidi Edward Kiijanangoma, wishing you a blessed evening. And remember that our second and final edition of News Tonight today will be at 10 p.m. Stay tuned and see you then.
Inspiring